My little fella. Okay, here we go.
Here we go. Hi, everybody. I'm Donna Reed, and I traveled in Up With People in 1976. If you've watched any of these, I'm sure you already know that and know way more about me than you ever wanted to. I'm going to preemptively say Happy Easter for those of you that celebrate. It is Saturday morning, March 30th, and I'm not at this mountain, but it looks cool, huh? So my guest today is Lionel Cole, and he's really like at that place that you see in this video, not like with a fake background like me. And Lionel, welcome. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
And
it's windy out here. Forgive me if the camera gets a little shaky from time to time. It's the action adventure portion of the game.
There you go. Like mine stays really still, but moves around. So Lionel, sometimes I come into these and I know something about somebody, but I don't know anything about you except that John Fedynich, whose name I always mutilate, asked me and kept saying, interview Lionel, interview Lionel, interview Lionel. So here we are.
Well, thank you, John, first of all. John has been incredible. John's one of the few people in my life who didn't care who my family was or any of that stuff. He just liked me for me.
That's awesome. So tell everybody when you traveled in Up With People and maybe how, like, did you see a show or how you even learned about it?
So I was working at the State Department in Georgia for Max Cleland, about to graduate from high school. And a friend of mine, Parker Johnson, traveled in '86. We went to high school together. I was kind of patriotic and very civic minded. And I just anyway, I was gonna take. I was unhappy. I gotten into Northwestern and all these other places, but I just thought I needed some time. And Parker came to me and said, "I think you should do it." And I'm like, I have no idea what that is. And a guy who became my mentor, Lindsay Hopkins, and Lindsay came to me and he says, "Look, I've already paid for you. I really believe in you. I've talked to, and they want you." So I said, okay, and showed up in Tucson and learned all the music and realized that being from a jazz place, I was always going to be playing the music the way I felt it every night. And it was quite an adventurous tour with that in mind.
Okay, so that was what? So it was '86 when you were talking to people. So you traveled in '86 or '87 or
'86, yeah, right 86. After high school, 17.
Okay,
I was the youngest person in the cast.
One of my friends that I traveled with just had their 65th birthday, but that meant they were 17 when we traveled.
That's it. That's it. I was the munchkin.
And so was John in your cast? Is that how you guys know?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
He was. Okay. And he was a constant and loving friend, which was amazing. Has been my whole life. Like most of the people I know from Up With People are still my closest friends. Like
that's
Clara
nice.
Kennedy. It's just quite lovely.
That's very cool.
Very.
Okay, so did you sing and play an instrument, or like what was your? Okay, what did you play, or did you play in the band, or what did you do on the road?
Yeah, so on the road, I played piano and sang. I even did the Hopak dance.
The who?
The Russian Tarantella dance.
The Russian dance?
Yes. It was cute to see a little brown Russian, doing the jump splits. That was pretty awesome.
In fact, can you still do that, Lionel?
Not right now with my torn groin, but in my head, I'm doing it as we speak. Can't you see it? My arms are out, and you're twisting. Kicking. I'm doing the low leg kick. Yeah. That was a few years ago.
A minute or two. Yeah. I do that with cartwheels. I'm like, yeah, in my head I just did a cartwheel, but this body isn't going to actually go upside down to try to do it.
I could probably pull off a cartwheel, but I don't know if you know, I wear a kilt, so it could be a little bit more of an X-rated show.
I didn't know that, so that becomes a whole different event. Like
yeah. Here, let me help you understand.
Okay, wait.
Here we go.
Back up.
Can you see?
Back up. Not yet. Keep backing up. No, you got it. You got to move the camera. come back up, or jump up.
How's that?
Well, I barely saw the kilt, but so tell
Wait,
me.
hold on. Since this is all real, right? We'll just do the.
Yeah.
Here's
All real.
here's the. There you go. There's the.
Ah. All right. And why this attire?
Well, first of all, because of the way you said, "Oh," that's I love making people go, "Oh, what is, why is this happening? And why do I feel so strangely nice about it?" I love that moment with people. My last name is Cole, and my first wife's name was McCulloch, and Cole is Clan Kylie. And so I have these two beautiful McCulloch Cole kids, and I thought that they should see everything they are, McCulloch and the Cole, right? And it's three reasons, really. Three reasons. The second reason is that, the kilt's been around forever. Like the Egyptians, the Russians, the Romans, the Germans, everybody's worn it, right? But the tartan especially came from Africa. And it came up with Hannibal, during the first kind of United Nations thing. That's why, the same thing that the Sunnis and the Zulus wear is the same thing that the Scottish wear, right? So I love telling that historical story. And the third reason, and it's probably the most important reason, is when I perform, I'm a big sweaty black man and I need the air conditioning.
So it's nice to have. See, that's why women like skirts in the cars.
You guys have been getting away with this for so long. It's like so not fair. Dudes, I'm telling you, there's nothing more comfortable than a kilt.
So my youngest son traveled in 2013 and he got married last fall, and Reed is the married name. But it's part of the Robertson clan. So when I was in Scotland a year or so ago, I knew at that point my son was going to get married and that my other son was going to do the wedding. So I bought them cufflinks for the clan to wear, and then I bought myself a little scarf because they were getting married in Denver, and I'm like, oh, it's November, I might wear a scarf.
Wow. So, that's really cool.
Something like
that's
that.
That's really cool.
What's super funny is that Caleb, the one that got married, he has a lot of dressy things. Adam, the one that did the wedding, not at all. He's like, I have to have a shirt to put these things.
What are these clasps things?
I'm like, put a hole in some cuff. Like, Adam, I don't care. Whatever you do, if that's what you have to
Rip off a button.
Yeah, exactly. So Lionel, when you traveled, where did your tour take you? Like, were you in all over the world tour, or?
Yeah, we were definitely in all over the tour. We did. I think it's like 13 countries and 38 states or something ridiculous.
Holy moly, you did do a lot. Wow.
It was ridiculous. And we did, we did Vegas with the guy who wrote For Everyone. He was on stage with us when we did it, which was cool because that's a song I usually sang in the show. The movie they made about that guy was If You Could See What I Hear.
Sullivan. Mm-hmm.
That's it. So it was amazing. I got to perform with him, and who else was there? Jimmy Stewart came to talk to us. I stayed in Change Way in Wyoming, which was kind of fun. I really had an amazing tour. Stayed with the Duke and Duchess of Marlborough. I stayed in Gallup, New Mexico. I stayed on the Indian reservation.
On the res. That was the first town that we did when we left Tucson, was Gallup. Yeah.
It was intense, man. That was, I knew poverty. I've seen it. Not really directly because my family was so powerful, but to be sleeping on the floor of an adobe hut with a family that expects you to eat all the food that they give you, which is all the food for the family. Like part of the culture, that's the custom,
Yeah.
Trying to find a way to be polite, loving being, and share some food with the hungry kid.
Yeah.
When the parents were looking, this is the first time I realized, despite where we're from, there's room for kindness if you're a little clever, you know. And if you're going to be a clever person, you might as well use it for kindness.
I think that for me, that experience was in Saltillo, Mexico, because it was one of those putting all this, I think they kept 3 of us and we're putting all of our suitcases in their tiny little car. And there were 9 kids and I literally have no idea where they slept because we had the room, you know, and maybe they were at friends, maybe they were on floors, maybe I don't know. And I remember thinking the same thing, you know,
Right.
Wow. You know, there, what is it? There'll be room for everyone, right? That's what.
Indeed.
that-
Indeed.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
very cool. So was there a place that you went that you absolutely would love to go back to that you haven't been to again?
Oh, I mean, as a professional entertainer, I guess I've been almost everywhere that I'd been before, and then more. It's amazing. What I can say to that is that, I mean, I guess I did my first professional show at 6, right, for like equity acting, right?
Wow.
Like ABC national TV show when I was 9. So traveling, doing all that wasn't new to me.
Okay.
This desire to always stay in other people's homes, which I still do this moment, like the tour I was on last, even when I got to the promoter's place, I'd stay at the promoter's house instead of in the hotel. You know, I really enjoy still integrating into other people's lives and learning the community from the inside out. And I usually do that by gifting something. I'm hanging. The last people I was staying with on Shelter Island, which is a place I spent a lot of time, about 20 years of my life on, she has dementia. And so I was really lucky to spend some time with her and have her make a new friend. And about 7 years to the date when I met her, her husband sadly had killed himself. And, you know, like right in front of the whole thing. She eventually put me in the room, lit a candle, made a nice little space for like all the treasures that he left her. Said, "Look, I know as you're losing yourself, you need to have something to remember, touchstone, you know." So I set up this little table and where all the stuff was, and told the home health care person and all my friends who talked to her, "Here's what you should do." Now I'm off to the next adventure. You know, one of my dearest friends, his wife has Alzheimer's, and we're gonna make a beautiful record for her. So it'll be a touchstone. Like that the Upward People part of me just won't go. You know, no matter how many people I've worked with, like I've worked with Mariah Carey and Robert Downey Jr. and all sorts of people. And when people Wikipedia I am on it, so they'll get that whole story. But it's really, really encouraging to still work inside, you know, and help strangers, you know, just people in need. It fills a very big.
I think it's fascinating to hear you talk about that because in the current Up With People, and when my son traveled in 13, it was a different experience. They were still in homes, but a week at a time instead of 2 or 3 days. And I recently met someone who is a travel blogger, podcaster, I don't even know what you call it, who's probably got 5,000 followers, and he would never stay in somebody's home. Never. He can't even wrap his brain around that. And for me, that's fascinating because for me, that when I go, that's what I want to do. Like I want to experience, and it's great to see the things. But like the last time I was in Brussels, she goes, "Do you want to go downtown or anything?" And I'm like, "No, we've been there like 5 times. I don't care if I go down." You know, I just want to experience life. So it sounds like, and that you either loved that Up With People or you didn't, right?
It's true. It's true.
One of those things that were
either
part of it. Yeah.
Up With People was a good place to find oneself, to actually have a bearing. And for me, as opposed to a place I've been that I'll never go, maybe a place I'll never go. There was a town in where were we? Somewhere between Cheyenne, Wyoming, and someplace I can't remember.
And someplace.
Yeah, you know, it was way too many cities, and we were driving into the city, and there was this giant billboard, first thing you'd seen for miles. The billboard goes, "Coming to," whatever the city's name, let's say, "our town," right? Nat King Cole's nephew, Natalie Cole's cousin, Freddy Cole's son, Lionel Cole, and up with people, right? Then I thought to myself, I'm never coming back to this town again. I don't ever see my life depicted like that again. That was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
There's a little funnel of names.
Yeah, it was like a funnel that went into the, you know, the W of with people. You know what I mean? And then the little inside the W was my name, like, you know, like it's like, and it's not the ego of it. It's just the kind of hubris of people. Like it's like, see if you like it first. You know what I mean? Don't ask me to sing Unforgettable at your table just because I'm here. You know, like, not that it's a beautiful song. I love it. I think people deserve it, but it's just, you know, let up with people mean what it is not. I got in a little bit of trouble for saying that's the mayor, but that's okay. I figure sometimes you gotta say, I'm not a person to hold my tongue. There was a lot of visits from Dale Penny when I was on the road. You said you wanted to talk about for people, so I'm going to tell you. You know.
No,
I'm an open book.
You're not everybody's story was always good news. I mean, there were I just did one with Michael Bowerman, and that, do you know Michael? And that was fascinating to me. Yeah, clear, and because he talked about what it was like to be in production and have to tell people no, they couldn't perform. And out of 50 some interviews, he was the first person that had said that. And I was a bigger girl. I've always been bigger. So I danced square dance, which, you know, put a dress on and didn't show my big hips. Stuff.
Come on now.
You know,
hips mean you gotta have smart babies. That's all that means.
That's what, thank you. Yeah. But it, you know, and when you're that kid, when you're the 17 or the 18-year-old, and you think, yeah, I should be able to do this, or I'm good enough, or whatever. But the people that are in production are still having to put on a good show. There's emotion on both sides. The person that has to deliver the news and the person that receives the news, right? About what they are able to do. Our show had Boogie in it, and they lifted girls over their heads. I was never a lift over the head girl, like never.
I would have gotten you up there. I'm a big boy.
Well, you know, very, very carefully, but
we would have done our Roadhouse moment. It'd have been amazing.
There we go. Exactly. So you've been performing, it sounds like, and I don't know if this means like once or twice or a week or two or a month at what is now, it was Studio 54 back in the day, right? And now it's 54 Below.
54 Below. We did a show Christmas time, which was awesome. Premiered my Christmas record called Cancel Christmas, and my tribute record to my family called With Love, and which was really fun. It had like my uncle's music, cousin's music, my own music, and my father's music.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was a nice one. Hold on. See, I told you I could do a flip. I told you I could do it.
Did. You just did a flip and you're already back in your chair. Way to go.
I just flipped it back. There it is. The second part was the cartwheel. And that show went really lovely. And those records made Grammy consideration last year. We're putting out a new record on May the 1st called Small Town. And 54 Below really wants to support it, which is lovely. And so we're at their prime spot. You know, they're a Broadway place, right? So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are there. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because all their main people are on Broadway during the week, you know, during the week. So for them to put me on a Tuesday night after a very first Friday night, you know, late night show is just so exciting. And to do it for this brand new record, which is really beautiful, full string section, full horn section, you know, amazing arrangements, almost all originals, as opposed to the Christmas record is all. It's a real, as a composer, it's very exciting. As a singer, it's very exciting. As an arranger, it's exciting. And as a performer, it's very exciting. There is such, I've won a Grammy before. 2 other people on stage have won a Grammy. Like, it's just a really powerful band playing music that's about, you know, stuff we would talk about in Upper People, like I have a song called My People. It's about, the journey you take to become the person you need to be to find people. Like that's my everyday hero. I guess, like
that's awesome.
Yeah,
That is
like.
No, Lionel, that's part of the reason that I started doing these, because I've been on the committee. I live in Tucson, so I've done, 15 or 20 reunions, and I've been on the committee for awards. And when we get the awards, and you're picking a J. Blunt and Belk or the everyday hero, I found myself thinking there's a lot of everyday heroes who traveled for 1 year and went home and did that, whatever that is, in their hometown, right? It doesn't mean that they were the person that built an orphanage. One guy, and it's funny because when you look at these videos, the people that people know have had 300 watches or 250, and then there's others that have had 30 or 40, and some of those are the best stories, but people don't know them. And one guy has donated over 1,000 pints of blood. 1,000 pints of blood, Lionel, every freaking 8 weeks for 30 years.
That's amazing.
That's an everyday hero thing to me, right? That's
agreed.
And so, yep, he's not a name that everybody knows or anything like that, but certainly has given back in his world. And we don't know where that went, right? Just because he donated.
Exactly. How many lives do you actually touch unseen when you give from your true heart? Literally, he was giving from his heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
The blood pumping out of his heart to share. It's insane.
Yeah. So when you say everyday hero, that was something that that was one of my reasons for wanting to do this, to say, okay, who are our everyday heroes? So, I want to go back to, so you're doing a Christmas show. Do you do covers of songs that everybody already knows, or do you do predominantly your own music?
Well, like I said, the Christmas show was a Christmas record that I wrote. So,
okay.
I think there's only one. Well, there's a rearrangement of Jingle Bells, but I don't understand the music. It's definitely all another thing. It's really cool, and it tells the story of Kris Kringle, the real Kris Kringle, lump of coal for a child kind of thing. And we did do Christmas Time Is Here, Peanuts, which is great, but everything else are songs that I wrote. I wrote songs like Cancel Christmas, I Shot Santa Claus. People's most favorite song from that is called Tell the Truth for Christmas. And it's the story about my kids. I made this promise that I would never tell them. And I make that promise with anybody. They're truly close to me. And so when it came time for Christmas, and I was living in Australia with my second wife, it was a fabulous life on the beach. It was incredible. My son comes up to me and says, "Dad, I don't want to know how you feel about Santa. I want to know your opinion on Santa Claus. I want to know what you do." And so I wrote a song about that. It's online. It's called Truth for Christmas. It's really, tell the truth.
Is it like like Spotify or YouTube, or where would I?
Oh yeah, all of it. Okay. It's on every platform. Okay. It was nominated for, or not nominated. It was considered for the Grammys last year. That song.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah. Oh, and the other cover I do is All I Want for Christmas.
Is what?
All I Want for Christmas is You.
Yeah.
And only that because I worked with Mariah Carey for like almost 8 years. Like I wrote her big comeback song Through the Rain, and I did the arrangement Star Spangled Banner with her right after 9/11 Super Bowl. It's my arrangement.
Wow.
So I've had a really lucky and powerful music career, but I've been able to have it through this kind of experience of giving back. Like even my biggest song, sold millions of records, sort of stuff like that. It's about making it through what you don't believe you can make yourself get. And the musical place I went in the Star Spangled Banner was one that stirred up images of the South, images of the North, images of the West, and then had a biracial, incredible, most powerful singer in the world singing those notes we all know. So as a cover, I'm quite proud of that cover. Watching her sing that still cry.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that I felt like I mean, is that the country needed that lift. That would be
Still does.
right. So right now I'm back on the road writing music on that level, and kind of, my dad would say, preaching in the church of Jack Daniel, and trying to get these folks to realize how much they need it.
That's a great quote. I might have that be the tagline of what I write.
It's not bad. It's not bad. Like I said, I've been doing press since I was 6, so it just shouldn't be terrible.
Oh my gosh, funny. So you said you have a couple of children. Are they grown? Are they in the States? Where are they, and what are they doing?
Yeah, so both my kids are now 19 and 20. Both Cameron and Paige still live up where Oppenheimer did his thing, and I think it's probably the last little town in America. Although I didn't get to see them much because I spend most of my time between Sydney and Road.
Yeah.
Had multiple businesses up at the same time. I know that they're having a fulfilled life. I was able through music to create that for them during their life. You know, they got there. They didn't have to wait for their dad to die.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
So yeah, even though I must give all of the credit to the great, beautiful people they are, you know, I was divorced from their mother. I wasn't able to be in every part of their life. So I give the best parts of who they are to their mother. God bless her for what she did, who she was, and who she is, you know. But it's beautiful over time to see whatever impression that I have inside their life, that I get to see, notice that they've seen some music. It's nice to see that their soul is still so shiny.
Yeah.
That watching them perform, like I pulled them out of their mother, was the pinnacle experience of my life. You know, I've played for billions of people, literally. You know, so I don't know. Life, love, and the pursuit of happiness are definitely core values. Everything you do around that.
Yeah. When we're done here, I'm going to send you a link. Swedish TV just posted a video, and one of our Swedish alumni posted it, and it's a cover of an ABBA song. Thank you for the music. And it's their it's their musicians all over Sweden, like on the ski slopes, in the garage, singing. Thank you. Oh my God. I woke up and it was the first thing I saw the other day, Lionel. Wow. I've played it so many times, you know, and for people that don't feel that, kind of makes me sad, right?
I try to reframe that sadness. I understand it. I see it. I feel it. I just I'm trying to live this world because I know sad, terrible, and horrible. I'm trying to look at those things as good, great, or awesome. You know, like if they don't feel it, well, that's good. That means they still have the chance to learn how to feel it. You know, instead of wasting my energy on sad, I get excited because they still have this moment to come. You know, they have this moment where they're going to actually feel something.
Right.
And I mean, mantras are supposed to be all self-affirmations. These things are all supposed to be internal. These are internal things, but how we process our external pressures gives us time to look internal. Do that. So I figure asking myself that set of questions, you know, to everything. Like, you saw me take a breath for a second, and then I answered. It's like that's something I'm really working. Like, just really, if we're gonna live in a revisionist history kind of world, well, why don't I revise my own history to reflect the most beautiful parts of the things that I've done, whether they be great, noble, or terrible.
Yeah.
You know, and write a story of me that supports the me I am right now, which is open, thankful,
Yeah, that's awesome. So, do you ever come to Tucson or Phoenix?
It's been a long time. The last time I was there was with my dad. We played, what's that square place? Was that Scottsdale?
It's
The
Scottsdale.
M&M.
Yeah, you probably were in Scottsdale. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, you probably saw my uncle Ike Cole out there if you've been there long. He was,
Well, I'm
he
in
was.
Tucson, and so I don't see as
Oh,
much.
that's right. That's
Yeah,
Scottsdale.
yeah,
Scottsdale is a bit closer
yeah,
to.
yeah.
That's it.
But
No, I haven't been back to Tucson much. I've got family in Scottsdale, but I haven't been back to Tucson much.
they always, they have a big jazz festival and stuff like that. I just was thinking about
Mount
it.
Lemon, maybe?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The picture
All
behind
right.
me.
Well, why don't you feel free to forward my information to the jazz festival? That's
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking about
I
that.
approve of that commercial.
And I next the next show down at Centennial Hall is Hairspray, and the young man playing Seaweed traveled in 2013 with my son and some other
No
kids.
way.
Yeah. So he just saw it up in Denver, and I messaged Caleb and I go, "Is it coming to?" And he goes, "Yeah, he's in the show through the end of June." So that'll be kind of fun to be able to catch that, and it's fun to see the alumni, the children of alumni, not, and it isn't always music, and it isn't always theater, and it just to see the lives evolve. And as I've been doing these, clearly those of us have lived longer, have longer stories. It's kind of like writing your memoirs when you're 20 versus when you're 60, right?
It's true. It's true. It's true.
Yeah, the story has changed. But I love that, for me, that I have a son that traveled, and that I get to see the continuation of Up With People in people's lives and where they've come from. And when you talk about where your life started, when I joined Up With People, was from a little town where my mom and dad were married 40 years, and I felt like we were financially fine, and I got along with my brothers, and I got good grades, and I just thought everybody was going to be that way.
And then the world showed up.
Yeah, then the world showed up, and then you start living in other people's homes, and you're like, holy cow. And I had just turned 18. So like you, I was quite
Oh,
young.
so you really understand.
Yeah. When,
It's
hadn't even done the college thing yet, so
uh,
yeah.
Lord have mercy.
Well, is there anything, final words that you would want to say to maybe kids that were thinking about Up With People? There's so many more options. There's gap years, there's this, there's that. But any final words about how Up With People changed your life, affected your life? Yeah, you've talked a lot about it already, so I give you that. But
Well, I'm going to give you a two-part final answer, right? First of all, thank you for having me to just
thank you,
express
sister.
myself and share my soul. I appreciate it. The powers that be, including John, would consider me negligent if I didn't say that there are some beautiful shows coming up. May 14th at the 54 Below, Lionel Cole Experience, doing the record Small Town.
That's
We're also
neat.
doing it at Tacoma Station in Washington, D.C. on the 12th. And I'll know actually by Monday whether or not we're going to open up at the Southampton Arts Fair.
Okay.
1st of May. And then in June, we're at Atlanta again at the Velvet Note doing the same show. I don't know if you know, but we spent all of the winter doing a sold-out show. We did 10 of 11 sell-out shows. And 54 was one of the only shows we didn't sell out, just a full house. And they're one of the first people who's called us back for this now summer tour to support the new record, Small Town, that celebrates, everyday heroes in everyday life.
I love
through
that.
the lens of me, the black sheep of an incredible family, right? And so I'll say this, as me, Lionel Cole, who grew up in Freddy Cole's house, who's a jazz legend, Natalie Cole's uncle, right? Changed the entire world. And who was Nat King Cole's brother, who was the very first real advocate for black people on America, first black man on television, first black man. I feel like it's my responsibility to continue to carry that line of advocacy through kindness and gentleness through this world. And Up With People as an entity, should really be considered a civic entity, right? As an entity, I think gives people a chance to find that place in themselves for their own family legacies, despite what they are. Whether it's a hardware store that your family's owned forever, or it's a musical legacy, it's on us to carry on the dreams that brought us to this moment and share them with as many people as possible. And an Upper People experience gives you the tools to do that by any means necessary.
Awesome.
Whether you have it in a car or in someone's couch or in a mansion, you're the same. And that is what makes it happen.
Boy,
That's what it gives you.
I get that. All right, listen, I'm going to wrap this up and I'm going to ask a favor of you if you can, because I have the free version of Zoom. I can't log back in for like 10 minutes, but would you be able to come back in like 10 or 15 minutes? Because I just want to talk to you about the show in Atlanta, a couple of other things kind of offline.
Of course.
You
Of
mind?
course.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. I gotta hit stop and record and upload and all that. And then let's see if we can get the exact same Zoom link back in 10 to 12 minutes. Okay.
Awesome. I'll just sit here and wait for you.
All right. Thanks, Lionel.
Hey, thank you so much. And thanks again for putting up with my cartwheels and bat flips. And
you were great. You're gonna win awards for those too. So
oh, I love you. You're the best. All right, bye world. Mwah.